Hi, I'm Dr. Mark, and I'm going to help you sing and perform more like the top artists around the world. I'm a professional voice teacher, performance coach, and opera stage director. I've helped thousands of singers around the world learn the techniques and methods that got the top singers to where they are. So last time I did Angelina Jordan, I made a lot of people angry. Not sure why, but I have my theories, and so I'm going to try to not make so many people angry this time. Not necessarily by changing what I'm talking about or saying, because I think Angelina Jordan is awesome and should be talked about, but hopefully to tweak a few things about how I'm approaching the video to make it a better viewing experience for you. So interested to hear what you have to say down below. Feel free to comment. Warning though, for those of you who are basically just wanting to watch through it and watch me go ooh and ah, probably not the video for you. In these videos, I try to give my perspective, my reaction as a voice teacher, performance coach, and stage director, so that people who are interested in learning more about the art, the skills that go into making amazing performances, can learn about them. And for those who just want to appreciate their performer, the people that they love to hear even more, and realize what it is about what they're doing that makes them so awesome, that's what I'm trying to talk about. If that's not you, then this video is not for you. But if it is, let's talk about what makes Angelina Jordan's Fly Me to the Moon so awesome. Here we go.
Fly me to the moon and let me play among the stars. Let me see what spring is like on Jupiter and Mars. In other words, hold my hand.
Okay, so right off the bat here, obviously there's a long time, this is about 7 years ago, but viewers who watched my other videos said I should go back and watch her here. What I'm surprised with is both now and 7 years ago, as we're watching this, how poised she is on stage. Other thing you're going to notice here is that she has a placement really far back in her mouth. It sounds like she's got some marbles back there, right? Now, before you start thinking that I'm criticizing, I'm not. She's making a really deliberate choice to make a specific sound for jazz, for that style that we associate with jazz. She's creating this very unique, buttery, smooth sound that is really unique and has a lot of character to it, right? It's got a little bit of grit here and there, which is what we associate with this song in jazz. So stylistically, it's pretty awesome that she's able to recreate this sound in a way that is so authentic to the style. So really, really fun to listen to. What's also really awesome and something we can learn from her is how deliberately she uses her mouth. Notice how much effort she puts into shaping each word. I think that's awesome. The analogy that I use is if I gave you a fun size Hershey bar, super cheap, get them at Halloween, whatever, you wouldn't really think about eating it that much. You just kind of throw it in and swallow it and that's good. But if I gave you a piece of chocolate and said, this piece of chocolate costs $500, go ahead and eat it, you probably eat it very differently. You probably try to savor each bite, right? She's making each word here a $500 piece of chocolate. She's really taking a lot of effort into that, which is really exciting to watch, that she's being that deliberate and that conscious about shaping each of those vowels. So really, really awesome. The other thing here as we're watching her, she just seems comfortable, confident. That lets us be comfortable, confident, which then lets us really bask in that sound, lets us reminisce, have our own thoughts, our own memories, and evokes all kinds of emotion, which is really awesome as well. So what can we do to be more relaxed, more calm, more confident? Well, first is to take a deep breath and to relax your body. Third is to notice if you are feeling anxious as you're performing, just to calm down, slow down, take a deep breath, and try to enjoy just the process of making gorgeous music, and try to engage singing and performing in a more playful mindset, more exploratory mindset, rather than everyone's watching me and I have to be perfect. What if I'm not? As I'm watching here, I don't get any sense of that self-judgment, that trying to be everything to everyone and be perfect. That's not what I'm seeing here. I'm just seeing a little girl who's sharing this music that she loves with the people around her, which is awesome.
In other words, darling, kiss me. Fill my heart with song and let me sing forevermore. You are all I long for, all I worship and adore. In other words, please be true. In other words, I love you.
Okay, something here that I'm noticing, which is something that I appreciate as a teacher, as an educator a lot, is the growth that I'm seeing from 7-year-old her, which was good. It was excellent, to present day her, which is even better. To me, it's all about progress. It's all about someone who doesn't just keep doing status quo and doing their thing, but someone who keeps striving on getting better. One thing from a body language performance standpoint that I'm noticing here is what's going on with her eyes. Now that she's older, she has a little bit more control of what she's doing with her eyes and using those to communicate. What we're seeing here in her younger self is not fear. She's still engaged and her brain's working really well, but it's not as synced up with what's going on in the music. And she's a little more neutral with what's going on in her face, which reads as calm, but not as expressive as she is today, which is expected, right? She's grown up, she's matured, she has more life experience, more to tap into, more that she can use to be expressive and communicate with the audience. That's something that's really, really important. What can we learn from it? Well, what we can learn is to use our life experience, our emotions, our thoughts, and to trust them, to go with them, not second guess them, but try to give them as much permission and reign to express themselves in our body language and what we're doing with our voice as possible. Here, for a 7-year-old, I think is how old she said, right? This is amazing. This is really, really amazing. It's also really amazing that her voice is that consistent, that trained, that amazing. Why? Well, because that means she really did start really young, and whether she had formal training or not, she put in the time and effort to get there. Books that you might be interested in, check out Talent is Overrated by Geoffrey Colvin. You can look at, you can Google terms like deliberate practice, and you're going to find the science and research shows that talent just doesn't emerge from thin air. It isn't necessarily someone's got it or someone doesn't. There are a lot of factors that go into someone developing their talent and being able to do what they can do. Why is that awesome? It's awesome because that means even if you think I have no talent, I can't sing, not true. You can. And the research supports that you can learn to sing and sing really well. Will you sound like Angelina? You can figure out how to sound as close to her as you want, but she's singing with her own style, her own voice. You'll sing with your own voice and be able to, if you have the right teacher, or even if you're just exploring it your own, find ways to adapt your voice to fit the different styles and genres. But the important part is if you put in the time and the effort and go through the steps of deliberate practice, you can be an excellent performer as well. What's so impressive is that at 7 years of age, she's been so focused on developing her talent and her skills and her abilities to be at this level of consistency, professionalism, and that's pretty amazing.
Fly me to the moon and let me play among the stars. Let me see what spring is like on Jupiter and Mars. In other words, hold my hand. In other words, darling, kiss me.
Okay, so here's the question I get a lot. Am I doing it right, or is this good singing? What I'm going to say is, do you enjoy listening to it? And is this a sound that you think this singer can make day after day, year after year after year? As I listen to her, I think, this is a sound I like listening to. I like what it does for me. I like what it makes me feel, what it makes me think. I think it's really pleasant to listen to. It's really easy on the ears. So, check mark. Second, is it sustainable? Well, Obviously, we're seeing her a long time later. It's sustainable. She's progressed. She's grown. She's gotten even more consistent in her technique, more deliberate. It's more polished now than it was. But even with this, she's not pushing at it. We're not seeing a lot of strain. She's being really intelligent with the choices she's making and not putting any extra strain or tension in it, which is awesome. So sustainable? Yeah, I think it's pretty sustainable. One of the things that I love about jazz, about pop, rock, is that one of the values, one of the things that's really important for a performer is the character of their voice, that it sounds unique, that when we hear it, we can identify that sound as that person. That's the case in just about any genre, but if we're looking at something more like opera, it's going to be harder for a lot of people when they listen to opera to just be able to identify this voice from that voice as easily as they might if they're listening to jazz and pop, because their voices are a little more consistent. They work at a very specific type of vocal training that emphasizes certain stylistic characteristics as well as certain technical characteristics, which, again, I'm an opera person, so I love it. I think it's amazing, and I respect our opera singers tremendously and think it's a art form that's worth supporting. But what I love here is that she's able to create her own style, and as long as it's sustainable and there's an audience that really wants to listen to it and it communicates the emotion and the message that the song and music is trying to say, and she's able to do that with her body too, awesome. There's a broader range of sounds and colors and styles of vocal expression that we can embrace when it comes to jazz and pop and rock and metal, and I think that's awesome. So what I love here is that I'm hearing this gorgeous voice that's so pleasant to listen to. Really awesome.
Fill my heart with song and let me sing forevermore. You are all I long for, all I worship and adore. In other words, please be true.
So at the end there, you hear her voice cut out a little bit. That's another thing that I actually appreciate about jazz and some of these pop rock styles is it allows for a little bit more humanity. Some of these unique colors and things that just sound like they're human. They're not overly perfected and polished and refined. I can appreciate that too. But there's something about just hearing a natural voice being really expressive and allowed to do their thing that we gotta love. And that's cool. So as we're watching here, two things that I want to point out from a technical standpoint in the voice is how is she getting this style, this kind of warmthness and richness in her voice? Well, in other videos, we've talked a lot about this yawning smile space or the ass space. Say hat, that opening in your back. Well, here it's a little bit more the this taller space. It's going to feel more like we have a ping pong ball in the back of our mouth, marbles in the back of our mouth, or another way of thinking about it, like there's a toothpick up in the back of our mouth. We're shaping it so it's taller in the back, but we're also keeping the placement further back as well. Now, you might say, but wouldn't it sound super swallowed? Well, two things. A, we have a mic. That's going to help amplify it. B, it's not just that sounds placed back, but she's keeping that air moving, keeping it so it's also forward at the same time. So you might be thinking, what do you mean it's placed back and forward? Doesn't it have to be one or the other? No, what we're doing is we're really shaping it back here, but not trapping it there or making it get stuck there, but allowing it to continue out and also have some resonance up in the front of our face, the mask as well. And that's what's going on here. And it creates this really gorgeous sound that's warm and rich, but also has a pingy edge as well to it, which is really, really fun. Other thing I want to point out that I think makes her awesome, if you go back and listen to this, are there any words that you don't understand? For me, I was listening for it, and what I heard is I heard every word. I heard her super clear. Now, it's a little tricky because this is a familiar song to me. This is a song I know, and so maybe my brain's filling in the gaps, but I don't think so. From what I'm hearing here and from what I'm seeing, she's being so clear with the words, which takes a lot of effort and is really difficult. And so singing in a 7-year-old, being that clear, that specific, without losing that legato, smooth, buttery line, awesome. If you want a voice lesson, a performance coaching, or want me to work with you or your group to help you sing easier or perform at a consistently higher level, book a time with me at mrperformingartsstudio.com. I look forward to working with you online.